Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Gemini for May 2017. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, see what's new on my blog, and while you're there, sign up for my free email newsletter. This makes you part of my community, and you get the perk of my monthly write-up that I do, and I send you out a month ahead of time, that has a written version of the general transits that are coming, so that you have them for your planning purposes in a way that you can look at, not just here through the horoscopes. So go and do that. So what's going on in the month of May? We've got movement and manifestation to the max. We have been waiting for this time since the end of 2016, a time when we are free or becoming free of personal planet retrogrades that were encouraging us to keep going back and inward. We did have a little pop out of energy in February in between the retrogrades, but we were still very much engrossed in retrograde energy. And so this is the first time that we're starting to break free of that focus. So May 3rd, Mercury goes direct. So you have to leave a few days around that going direct before you start like really taking action, because this will probably be a little bit chaotic. So I'm using May 9th as my guideline to start actually doing some things. You know, you'll be able to feel when the energy clears more, but we'll still have the Mercury shadow period until the 21st, but with every day we get away from the 3rd, it's getting more and more clear, so there's still plenty of room to do some things. And then the Venus retrograde shadow period ends on the 19th, and we've been in that since the middle of April, you know, so that's becoming very clear, and just lots of support for our movement and manifestation this month. So I want to go into more details about the specific transits, but first I want to talk about some things specific to Gemini, some fields of experience that are being highlighted specifically for y'all. So one of the houses that is lit up very nicely for Geminis this month is the 11th house. So I'm calling the theme for this month Uber Connected. Now, the idea of being connected, whether it's in social circles, whether it's in groups, you know, being part of a group, being online, being in person, connecting with acquaintances, friends, circles, groups of people who have a like-minded interest in whatever your thing is. This is the energy of the 11th house. The 11th house also rules internet-based projects, other technology, forward-thinking, you know, pioneering efforts that are futuristic, inventions, things like that. But the energy is of this group, of the community, you know, of the greater good, of this bigger picture here. So it's an amazing time for networking. It's an amazing time to get connected with people. Either could have them from the past, but they could be brand new people. This is a time where you're starting to, you know, it's starting to open up for some new things. You know, we were kind of very much in the old energy of the past and tying up loose ends. And now with every day that passes into May, we're opening up more and more to new things. So if you're looking for new groups, new circles, etc., this is an amazing time to start to extend yourself out into those places, and likely with great benefits and outcomes for the other projects that you're working on. Another house that is very nicely opened up for Gemini this month is the 12th house. And of course, we can't forget that we have birthdays this month, right? So let me just pause for a second and get to that. For those of you who are born at the beginning of the sign, or if you're watching for your rising sign, you know, the first 10 or 11 degrees of the sign or so, you will be having the significant event of either your birthday or the sun crossing over your ascendant at the end of this month. And I have a Gemini very close to me, so I always smile when I think of Geminis because I love Gemini energy and it blends really nicely with my Sag energy. But in any case, for birthdays are a very powerful time for you. The universe is never more receptive than on your birthday. Your birthday is when the sun in the sky gets back to the same point in your chart that it was when you were born, and it opens a portal. The sun in the chart represents your desires, the things that you want. So when you have this portal of the sun energy coming together, it opens up a portal for your desires. That's where birthday wishes come from. They're astrological. So I highly recommend, if your birthday is coming, that you check out my video. I think I also have a blog about this. Called Making Wishes Come True. If you just search for, even if you put in any search engine, Making Wishes Come True, Annie, it will pull up the things that I have about this. And I talk about how you can do your birthday wishes and write them down. You get 10 of them and feel them as if they're coming true and see them as if they're coming true, and how you can maximize your birthday wishes. And if your birthday wish, if some or all of your birthday wishes don't come true, keep wishing. Use the new moons, use your birthdays, use anything that you can to keep going, because sometimes it takes spirit a while to reconstruct within you the matrix of attraction to make you a match for the things you want. In this holographic reality, we have to be a match for the things that we want, and if we're not, then we don't manifest them. So sometimes a lot of work has to go on in the inner and outer planes to make us a match for the things we want. So don't give up after wishing one time. But I have seen many wishes come true after one time, so do it. Okay, so now we've got the birthday wishes. I wanted to just make sure to get back to that. Let's talk about how this 12th house is highlighted for you. And the 12th house is highlighted every time before a birthday or before the sun moves over your ascendant, because it brings this energy into the 12th house, which is the house before the ascendant, or the first house when everything starts new. And the 12th house is kind of a tricky place, because it's a place of feeling and emotion. And of course, Geminis are very, in touch with feelings and emotions. Of course, we're sentient beings, all people are. But Gemini energy is very busy. It thinks a lot, it moves a lot. And sometimes it will think or move its way through feeling instead of feeling. And so when there's energy in this feeling house, it can get a little uncomfortable because it brings up things that aren't dealt with, and there's not always an easy escape route through being busy. It's just really calling to attention that, there are some things that have to be done in your inner world. I call this the Harry Potter placement, because Harry Potter comes to see that his worst fears are actually within him. And that is true for all of us, So this is a time before we're about to move into this time of manifestation, when the fears are highlighted, when the doubts are highlighted, when the things that are blocking our movement forward are highlighted and brought to us, and we experience them, and it can be scary and it can be heavy. But it's purposeful, because sometimes we really have to get down and dirty with the things that we don't want to be very clear on what we do want. And in order for spirit to help us have more of what we want in our lives, we have to be very clear about what we want. So this transit through the 12th house is really great for excavating. It's like putting a light on in an attic. It's like, it's going to get nasty. It's going to get a little dirty. You got to get a little messy. But then when you clean it up, you feel so much better. You feel so much better, and you find things of value, and you clean up things that shouldn't have been there. And, so you've got to walk through this time so you can most use the new energies that are coming. So the last thing I want to talk about for Geminis specifically is the full moon. The full moon's on May 10th, and all of you, I think, early, middle, all of you except just those last few days of the sign will experience this full moon in the 6th house. And even those of you who have very late degree placements, you could still have the manifestation of the full moon in your 6th house as well with everybody else. But since it's actually happening in the 5th house, you might also have additional manifestation or your manifestation there. So we'll talk about what that looks like. So the 6th house, then this is going to be the predominant experience for you all, has to do with health. It has to do with your daily routine, things that you do every day, anything medical, anything having to do with yoga or alternative medicine, pets, animals. You can hear one of my little guys jingling around here. And it has to do with your day-to-day experience. So like the office, office dynamics, if you're self-employed, what that looks like. So it just has to do with your day-to-day environment. And when you have a full moon, there's fullness, completion, fruition, something coming to a head. So it could be a health crisis or a health opportunity. Something comes up and has to be dealt with. It's kind of, maybe it was underneath, but you were being Gemini-ish and just kind of being busy and thinking and doing stuff and not tending to something with your health. This could come up and cause you to pay more attention so that you have to address it. Or it could be that you have a breakthrough. You get information about something you've been working with that has been hidden previously. The full moon, especially in Scorpio, is all about bringing hidden information out. so that's definitely a theme for the full moon, especially in Scorpio. So you could have your pet that needs attention, or something coming to fruition with a pet. You could have a work crisis or an office drama, or you could have recognition in the office. It's just as likely for us to have some sort of drama with the full moon as it is for us to have a coming to fruition of something we've been hoping for or working on, like a manifestation. So those are the things most on my mind for, I wanted to mention for your very last degree placements, the full moon in the 5th house can bring fullness, completion, drama, etc. with children, anything involving conception, childbearing, child rearing, creative projects, romance, addictions. It's the house of true love, so romantic aspect, a partnership or something could come, something could be going on there, or need attention, or a creative project could get completed and be ready to be launched, which would be perfect timing. Okay, so those are the things that I have in mind specifically for Geminis, but definitely listen now to this detailed going through the aspects and the dates, and what I think you need to know about all the other specific aspects going on in May, including this amazing trine between Saturn and Uranus, which is very rare and very powerful and very exciting, and is going to bring a lot of smooth transition at crossroads. A lot of crossroads have been pending, and now that the energy is opening up and this trine is getting current again, it can help to move you to where you've been kind of stuck. You're like, you just need to get here, and you've been here, and this energy can help push you along. So I want to talk more about that now. So I'm calling the theme of the month of May for all signs, movement and manifestation to the max. This is the month that we have been waiting for through all of the retrograde cycles that started at the end of 2016. So there are definitely going to be major opportunities for the launches, for the trips, for the action, for the activity, for the big decisions. And we have some really amazing transits that line up with this clearing of the retrogrades. So I'll just go in order about the notable dates and the transits on those dates. Do know that when you sign up for my free email newsletter on my website, anniehelpsyou.com, I do a general write-up for the month ahead, so that you have a lot of the points that I talk about written down, and it's easier to refer to for your planning purposes, so you can check that out too. So on May 3rd, this is the day that Mercury goes direct, and Mercury goes direct at 24 degrees of Aries. So if you have any planets close to there, of course, you'll be affected more than others, or in aspect to them to that degree. But everyone will likely experience more chaos around the days that Mercury goes direct. So it would be a false idea to think, today Mercury is direct, now today or tomorrow I will go and do all these things and make all these decisions and try to get all this stuff done. You'll feel it when you pay attention that the energies are very chaotic the days before and the days after a planet goes retrograde, or the days before or the days after it goes direct. So I'd say give it a few days, several days after the 3rd, before you start taking action. I know your little horsey's chomping at the bit, waiting through 5 months of retrograde energies to try to do things, but do wait just a little longer. On May 9th, we've got the first day that I consider really, really good to start doing some things. I don't, you have to feel in to see if your launches or things like that would be good on this day, but I like a little bit later in the month because the shadow energies start to clear more. But this is certainly a day when the sun in Taurus makes a trine to Pluto in Capricorn, where you have tremendous power aligning with your desires. So you could, just feel into it. This could be a day to do some of the things on your list. On May 10th, we have the full moon at 20 degrees of Scorpio, and at the same time we have a Uranus and Mercury conjunction. So full moons usually bring fullness, completion, drama. Sometimes they bring happy tears, sometimes they bring stress, but there is this fullness, this completion, this coming to fruition of anything in the area of Scorpio. So something having to do with an intimate relationship, a business partnership, a financial relationship or agreement, something with esoteric studies. Many people can have major spiritual transformation that occurs at this time, or insights that occur. If someone is doing research or looking into a mystery, sometimes this energy can bring answers that you've been looking for, that you've been delving deep, searching for. The fact that Uranus and Mercury are going to make this conjunction at the same time always alerts me to watch your head and your brain, because Uranus in Aries, Uranus brings surprises, it could bring jolts. Mercury is like your movement, and it just always behooves us to guard your head, especially during this time, especially since the full moon is bringing excess of drama and emotions. And sometimes, everybody knows that people get a little more crazy at the full moon, right? Even people that don't believe in astrology know that that's true. So I like to leave a little space around the full moons so that whatever comes up, you can be fully present for them. So that's May 10th, the full moon in Scorpio. On May 11th, we have a square with Mars in Gemini to Neptune in Pisces. And so how I see this energy coming together as a potential is information overload, action overload, things to do, just kind of energy and movement combining with chaos and confusion, so this might be a day to step back. I always like to remind you that even though I give you the dates of the transits, sometimes we feel the energy of the planets coming together on the days before or the days after the actual transit. So you really need to feel in with your intuition if a day is good for something. Just because we say today is a good day in the cosmos, if you're having a bad day that day and things are not flowing for you, maybe you don't want to align with trying to make a big decision or do something on that day just because it happens to be a quote good transit. Sometimes you'll feel the good energy days before, so if you're feeling it, everything is aligning. You don't have to necessarily wait for the exact day the transit happens. If it's a positive transit, you can take advantage of that energy when you feel it beforehand as well. So I just wanted to point that out. So this Mars in Gemini and Neptune in Pisces aspect could bring some action and information overload. So just kind of draw back a little bit. That is the other thing to know about this month. Although there are definitely energetic clearings going on, the planets are going direct that were retrograde, the shadows, or at least Mercury is, the Venus retrograde shadow transit is going to be over this month. We'll talk about that later. Mercury retrograde transit or shadow will be over later. There's this clearing out going, kind of opening up some room for action and things to happen. But it's this energy is interspersed with these little challenging moments. So you really just have to feel your way through to see which is a good time to do what and to take best advantage of the good energy when you're feeling it. Okay, so also on May 11th, Mercury in Aries is going to make a trine to Saturn and Sag. And so this energy is really good for good news and forward movements, especially on long-term projects. So the fact that it's so close to the full moon and this other aspect with Mars and Neptune, you just have to feel your way through. Feel when you're feeling that good energy flowing, then jump on that and take your actions at that time. On the 14th, the nodes, I started talking about the North and South node in transit last month in the April report. The North node in transit shows us keys to our highest expression. And right now, on May 14th, the nodes change to the polarity of Leo and Aquarius. And so when the North node is transiting in Leo, it's pointing for all of us to have more energy towards following our bliss. That's what Leo energy is about, is living in this constant manifestation of these true desires. A true desire is not necessarily a chocolate cake, or a purse or something like that. The true desires, the ones that spirit wants for us, aligns for us. And who knows, maybe a purse or a chocolate cake could be part of that if it's part of something bigger for somebody. I have no judgment on the desires. We just have to be careful that addictions don't cloud the way of true desires that spirit wants for us, So when we really, really, really want something, it's usually because spirit really, really wants that for us. And when we align our energies with what where spirit is directing us, we become an unstoppable force for manifestation. So with the transiting node moving into Leo, we're all going to have years of support for following our bliss. It reminds me of the quote by Joseph Campbell. If you haven't studied his work, he's amazing. He basically, this is, loosely, he talks about how when you follow your bliss, doors open that weren't there before. Not even doors necessarily that were closed, just like doors open from places where there just weren't any doors. When you follow your bliss, you align with that energy, you supercharge yourself for manifestation. So this is really good news for me for assisting everyone in following that bliss, because the universe is really supporting this at this time. So on May 18th, we have a nice angle between the Sun in Taurus and Chiron in Pisces. Chiron is an asteroid, it's the wounded healer. And it talks about how our weak spots can actually be our greatest strengths. So when we have a nice angle here, it's showing us that we have a chance to easily convert a weakness to a strength. That's what Chiron to me is all about. So when you have something at a nice angle to it, it means that conversion can be relatively easy. When you have Chiron in a challenging angle, then that conversion can be a little bit stressful. But this is like a nice little sweet spot here, in the middle of the month, where something that was serving to hinder you actually serves as your springboard. So around May 19th, we have this amazing long-term story, beautiful aspect between Saturn in Sagittarius and Uranus in Aries. So we've talked about outer planets, how when they get together, they create these long-term challenges, which could be opportunities or just straight opportunities. So this is just straight up opportunity for harmonious transitions. The first time Saturn and Uranus came together in this configuration in recent times was December 24th of 2016. So here now, May 19th, is our second run of this story. And then the third run they'll connect again on November 11th. And they won't come together again like this until 2047. So this is a really rare aspect, and it is one that is a theme for the whole year from the end of 2016 through the end of 2017. And this month of May, and actually for the end of April, all of May, and almost half of June, Saturn and Uranus are in this amazing close proximity that's just opening doors, just like we were talking about for following your bliss. So it's really supercharged. And so the energies are also both in fire. And fire means action. If you know anyone or you have a lot of fire energy of your own, this is an action-oriented energy. Like, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? Let's do something. So when you have these outer planets in this wonderful aspect, they want to help you do something really big. So this is the type of energy that's amazing for all huge transitions, like major crossroads. Changes in all areas of life are very much supported. And now that we have the personal planet retrogrades clearing up, it's really opening up the way for these changes that have been pending to really start to manifest. The same day, May 19th, we have this opposition with Venus in Aries to Jupiter in Libra. This is the opposition that I worry least about in general, because Venus and Jupiter are the two benefics, the nice planets basically of the zodiac. So when they get together, even in an ornery angle, it's not as much of a challenge or an issue as oppositions with other planets are, because they kind of like each other, So I could see two main possible manifestations from this. Of course, there are unlimited manifestations, but one could be overindulgence in fun. So just excess of fun, spending, partying, whatever. That is more common at this time, just having way too much fun. And the other way I can see this happening is a burnout from balancing me and we. Like, you could be getting in a really good groove with tending to your own things and tending to your stuff with relationship, because Aries and Libra are this, this polarity of me and we. So you could just be burnt out from balancing me and we, and that could be how it manifests. And this same day, on May 19th, is when the Venus shadow period from the retrograde passes completely. So ever since April 15th, when Venus went direct, we've been in this shadow period where, even though it was moving forward, it was kind of still getting back to full strength. So now on this day, it's back at full strength, and we're not going to have to work with this for, a long time till the end of 2018, as far as the Venus retrograde goes. On May 21st, the Mercury shadow clears. So in that time between, the first few days after Mercury goes direct, so May 3rd, after that, I'm saying like May 9th is a good time to start, pushing some things forward. From May 9th until the 21st, you're still having a little bit of shadow stuff to deal with, but it doesn't mean you can't get some stuff done. But now, as of the 21st, you have this completely open period from personal planets retrograde or their shadow periods until July 24th. So make the most of your taking action, doing things, going places, making decisions, moving forward. Then on May 25th, we have the new moon at almost 5 degrees of Gemini. New moons always bring new opportunities, and the more you make your wishes in alignment with the energy of the sign, the more the universe can help them come true. So you get 10 new moon wishes. You can check out my blog called Making Powerful New Moon in Gemini Wishes, or you can just go to anniehelpsyou.com, click on blog, and then put a search for New Moon in Gemini, and you'll find it. So you can see the types of things that are Gemini related that you can wish for that help to push your wishes even further. That new moon is also squaring Pluto. So there could be some challenges with people, authority figures, or unknown pieces, or some sort of forces that seem to be working against you. This is one of those examples this month, as I was saying, there's like all these energies moving forward, but they're like little hindrances, little obstacles in the way. So if you're feeling a little bit of a pushback, then just honor the flow and just wait until you're feeling the flow move forward again, instead of pushing against it. On May 28th through the 29th, Mars in Gemini is going to be opposing Saturn in Sagittarius. So this could be another one of those hiccups in progress where, Saturn, this taskmaster, comes in and opposes Mars, this planet that wants to move forward and take action. It's like a little bit of, hey, you have to do something with your responsibility here, or here's a little piece you didn't keep up with that you have to take care of before you can continue spiraling forward. And it is very much a spiraling energy because the energy of Gemini moves in an upward spiral. So you'll notice this month is just full of, even though we have energy in Taurus as well, which is more grounded, there's more of a predominant energy in like the Aries and Gemini, which is like making everything spin, busyness, lots of information, lots of talking, lots of thinking, lots of doing, lots of going places. So then on May 30th, Mars in Gemini will make a nice angle to Uranus, and this is a really great day to put a brilliant plan in action. Uranus rules taking chances, taking risks, doing something forward thinking, and Mars again rules action. So when they come together in a nice angle, this gives really good support for taking a brilliant idea and putting it into action. On the 31st, Mercury in Taurus will make a lovely trine with Pluto in Capricorn. So this is like grounded action fueled by emotional or lesser seen support. Pluto is stuff in the backdrop. It could be spiritual, mystical stuff. It could be a person or an entity with money that is supporting you, but it's something that is positively expressing or positively supporting your expression at this time. So these are the things that are most on my mind. Again, the theme this month is movement and manifestation to the max. I hope that this helps you to take more advantage of the opportunities that will be at play this month. If you haven't already signed up for my free email newsletter, then definitely do that on my website, anniehelpsyou.com, because you get the write-up of the month that's coming. I always send that out a month early, just like I do the horoscopes a month early, so that you can prepare. And some people need to see things more than just hear them, and that written report will give you information in a visual way. Also, I might have some slots still open in my Creating Successful Online Business if you'd like to be free from your geography. I'm not yet enrolling for my astrology apprenticeship program and my coach certification course, but it's coming soon when I will be. So if you think you might be interested in those courses, they do fill up quickly. You can go to my website and click on anniehelpsyou.com, click on Work With Me, and send me an email through where it says this class is full and in progress. If you send me an email through there, I'll put you on the list to have first chance at open slots when they come, if you're really interested in working with me. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.